for the number 13 Jayhawks, but it's been a trying stretch filled with shocking finishes and tough losses for a young team on the road. Tonight, Andrew Wiggins, who's coming off a sterling effort Tuesday at Florida, and his Jayhawks, they're looking to get back on track against a tough, experienced New Mexico team. And welcome to Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. 18,000 plus are here tonight at the Sprint Center in Kansas City for our matchup, New Mexico and the 13th ranked Kansas Jayhawks. And hi, everybody. Welcome inside the Sprint Center. Dave Fleming alongside Fran Fraschilla for Kansas. Fran, 2 consecutive losses. It was ugly in Gainesville earlier this week. And a question all around college hoops right now. What's going on with the Jayhawks?
A lot of inexperience, and they're losing to teams that have veteran players. They've got the same test tonight with this New Mexico team. Yeah,
that is a big part of the story of this game as you take us through our one-on-one, Fran, the experience of the Lobos.
Well, absolutely. You talk about New Mexico, you're talking about 3 guys, the highest scoring trio in the country. We're talking about guys like Bairstow, Kirk, and Williams. And for Kansas, no doubt they're talented, Dave, but very, very inexperienced in crunch time.
So that is indeed a concern for the head coach of the Jayhawks, Bill Self. Just moments ago, Fran talked to Bill Self and asked him where he's looking for improvement with his young team.
I think just a little bit of everything, Fran. We need to have more poise. We need to run our stuff to score. Obviously, we need to battle better on the boards. There's a lot of things we can do better. It's not like that we're kind of like a jack of most trades but master of none right now. We don't really have anything yet that we can hang our hat on to kind of give us an identity. But I think it's coming. The guy's attitude's been terrific, and we've had good practices, and you'll eventually play like you practice, and certainly I like how we've been playing in practice.
You're going to put Nadir Tharp back in the starting lineup. What does he mean to you, your team?
Well, I think that one thing that he knows now, even though we've thought it all along, is he could be our most valuable player, because he's the one guy that can give us what we need from a leadership standpoint and helping us be organized and give the other guys confidence when things kind of get fragmented.
Well, you heard Fran and Bill Self talking about it. Nadir Tharp is in the starting lineup after not starting on Tuesday in Florida, along with Selden, of course, Andrew Wiggins, Perry Ellis, and Joel Embiid. That's the starting lineup for the Jayhawks. On the other side of things, you see that experience. The seniors, Williams and Bairstow, the redshirt junior, Alex Kirk, Hugh Greenwood, a tough player in the front court, and Cleveland Thomas, the sophomore guard, as well for the Lobos. As we get ready for tip-off from Sprint Center, we're a ways away from Lawrence and Allen Fieldhouse, but it's definitely a pro-Kansas crowd here in Kansas City.
Well, it certainly is, and ironically, Kansas has not played in Allen Fieldhouse. It'll be 28 days before they get back there, but this has always been a home court for them right around Christmas time, playing in Kansas City.
So a lot of fans are here making a lot of noise already. The head coach of Kansas, we saw him and heard from him, Bill Self, in his 11th year. The head coach of the Lobos, his first year, Craig Neal, who takes over for Steve Alford, who now, of course, is at UCLA. Neal's been a part of the staff at New Mexico for many years now. Big part of their success as a program, so sort of a seamless transition from Alford to Neal.
Well, they go way back. Craig Neal's a basketball lifer, as we'll chronicle. Played in the NBA, played at Georgia Tech. A very close associate of Steve Alford's, and great opportunity for him.
Yeah, so the challenge for Kansas here tonight in a lot of ways, Craig Neal's team has a lot of experience. They also have a lot of size and strength down low. And Cameron Bairstow, one of the most improved players in all of college basketball, a big part of that.
Absolutely.
So here we go from Kansas City. The Jayhawks trying to stop their little losing skid, but it's New Mexico with the first possession of the game.
They're a set play team, Dave. They run good half-court offense, and they'll look to go inside early.
Hugh Greenwood, who sort of runs the point guard for New Mexico, but doesn't shoot a lot. Kendall Williams will take a lot of shots. One of their leading scorers draws a foul away from the basket on the big man, Embiid.
Very smart play by Kendall Williams. He went right into that outside hip. Kendall Williams is about an 80% left-handed driver, but that time Embiid not quick enough to establish position.
Joel Embiid, the super talented freshman big man, but has gotten in a lot of foul trouble this year, so that's not good news for Kansas right away. A touch for Bairstow down low. Embiid with the rebound. There's Tharp with the ball, back in the starting lineup for Bill Self. Touch down low for Perry Ellis. Selden has really struggled of late. Fell down, avoided the turnover somehow. Kirk rebounds the missed shot.
It's going to be interesting to see if Kansas can score inside over the length of Bairstow and Kirk.
There is Kendall Williams matched up with Wiggins on this end of the floor at least. Kirk high-low, and the quick release from Bairstow.
Big part of their offense. Those two guys work together as well as any 4- and 5-man in college basketball. The numbers speak for themselves, but you got an idea of how well they play in sync.
That's going to be a challenge for this young Jayhawks team, struggling on offense, but also struggling with the communication issues on defense. Wiggins coming off that super performance, and what a nice shot from the baseline.
I think what you're finding with Andrew Wiggins is he's getting a comfort level with being Kansas's go-to guy.
And in some ways, Fran, he sort of has to be that go-to guy.
There's no question. This is a team right now devoid of leadership, not just vocally, but offensively and defensively as well.
Now, Williams is making Wiggins work on this end. Williams rattles home the jumper.
What you like about Kendall Williams is he's learned to pick his spots when to be aggressive offensively.
Double team came, but Embiid went right through it and draws the foul.
One of the things Bill Self was telling us earlier today is how few high-low looks they're getting in an offense that's put a lot of guys in the NBA, going back to Wayne Simeon. Good example right there of Embiid sealing his man away from the basket.
And that has to make Coach Self happy to see that simple play on the offensive end. Embiid, who is such a fascinating story. You saw his recruiting profile, and I think people are falling in love with a kid who's hardly played basketball and already is showing off that potential.
Without a question, the young man from Cameroon, Yaoundé, Cameroon. Great story. We'll tell it as the night goes on.
Part of a tremendous recruiting class for the Jayhawks, but this very young Kansas team, Embiid made both free throws.
Boy, New Mexico didn't see Alex Kirk all alone. This is not a team that presses very much, Dave, but if you remember in the Florida game, Bill Self went to the press to speed that game up. And with these athletes, it was pretty effective.
Yeah. Greenwood down low, Bairstow. Embiid altered the shot. Selden nearly turned it over.
And that's been his bugaboo. Last 3 games, 11 turnovers, 1 assist for Selden.
Wiggins on the perimeter.
See the zone early by New Mexico. This has been an Achilles heel for the Jayhawks.
Clark passed up the 3, knocks down the 2.
Well, we talked to Bill Self about it. You heard it in the soundbite. To me, Nadir Tharp is the most important player on this year's Kansas team. He must grow into a junior leader. Bill Self's got a lot of confidence in him. He hadn't done it yet.
Cleveland Thomas from the corner gave it back to Kendall Williams. Kirk, the big man, will shoot from the outside. Not that time.
I thought that one was about 3 feet longer than he needed to shoot that ball.
Embiid, good entry pass, and he was fouled. And if that's against Kirk, that's his second already. It is.
Well, give credit to the freshman Embiid, who did a good job of sealing Kirk up the lane again in a good post feed. Bill Self told us today, we've been running offense with no purpose. And so far early in this game, they've gone inside, and those 2 fouls are critical.
Dangerous entry pass. Good catch by Embiid. Kirk on the bench with the 2 fouls. What a spin move. Wiggins missed the shot, though. You see the athleticism from young Andrew Wiggins. Williams in transition. The 3 off the mark, off to the side. Selden, a little pass fake, scoops it home.
This is a young team, Kansas, Dave, that just needs to enjoy playing. And I say that because there's been a lot of pressure on these young players.
Have some fun, play loose. Greenwood, again, he just does not like to shoot much. He was fouled by Tharp.
Well, you remember about a week ago, Hugh Greenwood hurt his right wrist in a game at New Mexico State. And we watched him today. He was very reluctant to do a lot of outside shooting. That's not his strength anyway.
Yeah, it's almost like the wrist injury has just emphasized his game even more so. He's just not going to shoot much. Williams now will set up some half-court offense. Still early, first few minutes of this game. Kansas off to a nice start, though. Williams, Embiid went to block the shot, and Williams scored anyway.
So much for going left. That time Williams put that ball in the deck and got to the rim right-handed.
This is a guy who in a game last year against a good Colorado State team scored 46 points.
Probably the game that clinched, I don't know if you'd agree, the Mountain West Player of the Year award. You look at that league last year, there were so many deserving candidates.
Bart had a good look, came up short, and a Jet off the bench grabbed the rebound. Watch a Jet playing minutes because Kirk has the 2 fouls. Catches the pass, had his shot rejected. And then a whistle and a foul against the Jayhawks underneath the basket. So the Jayhawks playing in Kansas City, trying to stop their little losing streak. Wayne Selden, a kid who's been struggling. A nice early moment in transition for him. Maybe the Jayhawks are going to play loose here tonight. They lead 8-6.
Jim Valvano and his vision that he had with the V Foundation. There's so many things that have been done as far as improvements and advancements. I want to be a part of anything that we can do to win this fight.
Dave Fleming, Fran Fraschilla back here in Kansas City, and Bill Self. One of the great things about the V Foundation, Fran, I think, is the participation of so many folks around this game, how much money we've raised to fight cancer, for cancer research, and Bill Self, no different. He has given a lot of his time, put a lot of effort into the V Foundation.
And a lot of coaches have. Yeah. Dickie V, certainly, Mike Krzyzewski, and all the coaches around the country.
There's a connection to that disease with the junior point guard Hugh Greenwood, native of Australia. You see the wrap on his injured right wrist. He also has a tattoo on the side of his hand. Hugh's mom, about 5 years ago, was diagnosed with breast cancer. She has battled that disease and is doing much better now, we're happy to report, but in support of his mom. Hugh's got the tattoo going.
Family affair at New Mexico, as Hugh's sister is now a member of the women's basketball team, the Lady Lobos.
Bairstow missed the jump shot out of the timeout, so 2-point lead for Kansas with the ball. Selden down low, good entry pass to Ellis.
That's what they've been looking to do. It's one thing to run your offense, just to run it, but Kansas teams have always been effective running it to score at times. Great post feed.
And so far taking care of the ball much better than they did against the Gators. There's Bairstow.
Well, I love this kid. Young man that has improved every year at New Mexico. Came in kind of like a 185-pound weakling or whatever he was. And he's now a very physical, all-around player, one of the best forwards in the country, really.
A self-made player, they call him.
Yep.
Guy who's put the work in. Embiid fouled from behind by a Jet. Talking about Cameron Bairstow, the senior from Brisbane, Australia, and you see the numbers, the huge leap this year, but they've gone up every season.
One of the things he did, he got a chance to play with the Australian national team and also the World University Games team. Silver medalist, he averaged almost 21, 22 points a game. I think he gained a lot of confidence this summer, in addition to living in the weight room, living in the practice facility. This is a young man that came out of the Australian Institute of Sport. I talked to their coaches this week, and they said he literally could not touch the rim when he arrived there as a 17-year-old.
Much different story now. Frank Mason, the freshman point guard from Petersburg, Virginia, in the game for Kansas. Embiid. Extra passing on the perimeter.
Mason has got to learn to play at different speeds. He's got an enormous ability to get into the lane.
Wiggins elevated right over top of the defense. Ball poked out of bounds off of the Jayhawks. The New Mexico ball. The pro-Kansas crowd not happy about it. Bill Self, I don't think, happy with it.
You know, it's early in this game, but one decision Craig Neal's going to need to make is, do you bring Alex Kirk back in at some point during this first half? And I think you do, even with the 2 fouls. I wouldn't want him to sit there for the better part of this half, 15 more minutes. You have to use him judiciously, but we'll see what happens.
Cullen Neal, who's the son of the head coach of New Mexico, just a freshman himself, off the bench for the Lobos. Bairstow, they left him wide open, hits the shot. He'll hit that almost every time.
That's another area of improvement. Doesn't really shoot it out to the three-point line just yet, but 17 feet and in, very, very effective.
Now an offensive foul. That's an illegal screen against Tarek Black, who just came in off the bench for the Jayhawks. Black commits the personal foul.
Tarek Black is a guy that has really struggled since he transferred from Memphis. He's got more fouls this year than he does rebounds on the season. Not good.
No, not good. And a kid that they were counting on to be an impact transfer, impact player. He had some big moments for Memphis. Bairstow cutting to the basket, but he traveled. Good play by the Lobos, but then Bairstow sort of got his feet tangled up.
Bairstow and Greenwood, both graduates of the AIS, as we call it, the place that produced Andrew Bogut and Patty Mills, among others. These guys were teammates along with Matt Dellavedova.
Andrew Wiggins, that's a blocking foul against Greenwood.
See, I'm not sure about that one, because if he's legally guarding it, I thought Greenwood was set. He's allowed to move sideways. See, he's legal. He is legal. The rule states that you can move sideways and backwards as long as you've established legal guarding position, in my opinion.
But the Jayhawks got the call.
And that's all that matters.
Kansas running their half-court offense here. Selden from inside the three-point line. Rebound tapped around. Greenwood, good rebounding guard, came away with it. Williams on the move in transition. Flung up the shot, draws the foul.
Well, Kendall Williams is showing you a little bit of everything right now. Impressive in the open court. Young man, you know the story. Committed to UCLA as a junior. They sort of backed off him. He opened up his recruitment. Senior year, he ended up at New Mexico, where he's just blossomed.
Kendall Williams makes the first of 2 free throws, and he does do a little bit of everything. Leads the team in minutes played, second leading scorer, takes a lot of threes, gets to the free throw line a ton, and he's a good passer as well.
He's really evolved as a guy that is one of the better players in the West, for sure.
He shoots almost 10 free throws a game, and he shoots better than 85%. Well, that's a pretty easy way to be a very good offensive player. Get to the line that much and then make all your free throws. Good double team in the steal. And Williams is on the move again. Had the ball poked away. Saves the turnover and keeps the possession for the Lobos.
Black with another turnover in that zone that New Mexico's employing.
What a spin move. Bairstow
How about Bairstow? Wow. He's looking up for a call, too. Thought he got hit, but you love his concentration inside. New Mexico mostly man in the early going, but they have played some zone. Expect them to play more tonight. Kansas has really struggled with the zone.
So New Mexico has to be fairly pleased with the way this game is going. Craig Neal and his Lobos have a 4-point lead. When we come back to Kansas City, Coach Neal allowed us to listen in today to his practice. We'll let you hear when we return.
You're not going to let me cut your hair? No, good. You're just trading it. You're trading it. That's your new man. And Cullen's going to guard the middle right here. You're there. Perfect. You got to get ready to shoot. Good passes. Here they come, Alex. Good pivot. Good pivot. You're shorter than I am. You're not even close. If Perry Ellis or Taylor catches it out there, what are they doing? ISO. If Wiggins catches it below the free throw line in your zone, what is it? Lob.
Well, Fran, we always appreciate when coaches give us a little inside access.
Yes.
Fascinating to hear how coaches in different ways handle their shoot-arounds, their practice days.
Yeah, well, Craig Neal's the son of a high school coach, of course, and was a great player in high school in Indiana. I think his NBA background really helps because it looked like an NBA walkthrough today. Very mature, very methodical. This is a guy that played at a very, very famous high school in southwestern Indiana, Washington High School, the Hatchets. In recent years, they produced 3 brothers that have gone on to play in the NBA by the name of the Zellers. But before the Zellers came Craig Neal, an Indiana All-Star in 1983.
And I think you called him a basketball lifer.
Lob.
Wiggins couldn't quite catch it. It ticked off the side of the backboard. That would have been spectacular. Now they reset the shot clock, and they should not have done that. So they stopped the game, but Andrew Wiggins just went way, way up there.
Remember what Craig Neal said when against the zone, when Wiggins is below the foul line? Look lob.
We just heard him say it.
Exactly.
10 seconds ago.
Watch him sneaking along the baseline, just like he talked to them at the walkthrough today. And they had it. Tharp just threw it a little too high.
You can throw it almost anywhere in the neighborhood, and Andrew Wiggins is going to go get it. They put the shot clock at 27. Wiggins, you see the season averages, but particularly last game, first ever double-double, career high points, 26 against Florida. Ellis off the inbound play, had a great look, and then just came up short. Got his own miss back, though.
That was a good challenge by Bairstow.
Tharp, 3.
That's important. Tharp's got 5, but more importantly, coming out of the chute with confidence. And I said it, he's the key to this season for Kansas. The front line will take care of itself.
They have to get better guard play, and particularly better point guard play. Cullen Neal, the freshman for the Lobos, a runner, good.
This young man, I'm happy to see him hit that shot. Like a typical freshman, he's been up and down, struggling a little bit, but very talented. This young man was supposed to replace Matt Dellavedova at St. Mary's until his dad happened to get the New Mexico job.
Clark passed up the open 3 this time. Wiggins from the corner, way too strong. Ellis to Tharp. Embiid just committed his second personal foul going over the back, and I don't think that was a very good decision.
Well, that's been an issue for the young big guy. Foul trouble.
Yeah, he's fouled out twice already this year.
You just got to pick your spots. I never minded an offensive rebound foul because it was an era of commission. But when you've got one and there's a good chance you're not going to go over Bairstow's back, you got to let that one go.
Landon Lucas, who doesn't play many minutes in the game, from the corner, the 3 attempt for Deshaun Delaney, and the ball's going the other way. Neal commits the personal.
This is a New Mexico team. If there's an Achilles heel right now, Dave, and you've seen them a lot over the last couple of years, it's that Craig Neal's got to develop his bench.
Yep.
The starting 5, rock solid. Some young players just getting their feet wet, like Neal, the JUCO transfer, Delaney. And Lobos content to sit back in that 2-3 zone.
See a couple of their starters on the bench. Greenwood, Kirk has the 2 personal fouls. Mexico still, though, has the 3-point lead. Ellis underneath the basket, rejected by Bairstow. Lucas got the ball and then wasn't looking to score, so Wiggins attacks, draws the foul.
When you play against the zone, you must get the ball to the deep paint area, either via the pass. Now watch the block. Good hustle. Watch the drive. You need to get to the deep paint versus the zone in order to allow yourself to play from the rim out. Much easier to shoot jump shots if you can drive it or pass it deep.
Andrew Wiggins makes the first of 2 free throws. This should ultimately be a big part of his game. Getting to the free throw line, converting there.
There's a little bit of pressure now by Kansas. You know, Bill Self has really never been a full court pressure coach. There may be some times this year that might be the best way to speed teams up because of their depth and their athleticism.
Neal got another open look, this time air ball.
Well, the thing about Cullen Neal, he's a typical freshman. He tries to hit home runs.
They left Tharp open again. Rebound, New Mexico. Delaney, one of those transfers in the front court. Well, Bairstow found an opening, a little 2-man game, but missed the shot.
How about Landon Lucas getting an opportunity, the redshirt freshman out of Portland?
Had a touch, gave it up to Wiggins.
He's a young man, Lucas, that's worked really hard conditioning-wise.
Green, who played a lot of minutes on the road at Florida, in for the Jayhawks. Green from the outside, good shooter, hits the 3.
That's what he does best. Does he play hard yet? No. Does he defend yet? No. Bill Self said, I'm going to give him an opportunity because we need what he does well.
Brandon Green's 3 has the Jayhawks up by 2, has the Sprint Center a little bit louder. Bairstow, one dribble at it, poked away from behind. Wiggins on the move. Wiggins switched to the left hand and his shot partially blocked. It's out of bounds off the Lobos.
Dave, Andrew Wiggins does a lot of things well so far. One of the things he's got to get better at is he's not a great finisher in traffic. He's had a number of these chances this year. You see how rather than take the ball to the defender, he shies away from contact, and he'll get better at that.
Yeah, Bill Self was talking to us about how he just wants Wiggins. He feels like everything about Andrew Wiggins has been fantastic, but he would like him to try to push the tempo a little bit more, get to the basket like you're talking about. Ellis with a nice jumper. Greenwood back in, Williams on the bench. And a foul from behind. Bairstow trying to catch the entry pass. Lucas commits the personal.
I got to the point watching a lot of basketball over the last 10 years that I think right now you got Alex Kirk with 2. And I realize Craig Neal does not have a deep bench. But I'm going to be a little surprised if we don't see Kirk play anymore in this half. I just think you want to keep him sharp and fresh, and you also don't want this game to get away from you.
I think you make an interesting point. You can keep it close and maybe say, okay, well, we bought ourselves time, but you don't want your kids sitting on the bench for ultimately what could be an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the best players for the Lobos, averaging 18 points, 10 rebounds a game plus.
And he's one of the best pure centers in the country. Think about it, there aren't a lot of guys like him out there.
Green to Lucas against Bairstow with the left hand.
This is a very deep Kansas team. Landon Lucas, one of those guys. We talk about the Wigginses and the Seldons. He'll be a really good 5-year player for Bill Self.
Good cut to the basket, but the shot was rejected from behind by Ellis. Tip up, no good. Jayhawks ball.
Yeah, that time you got to go strong with that to the basket.
In the corner, Green open again. Rebound and finally snatched out of the air by Delaney.
Delaney's a guy that Craig Neal said he's the next guy we got to get going.
Big time athlete. Neal scoop, no good.
See, I like that aggressiveness from Neal.
Ellis down low. Ellis scores. And a timeout for the Lobos. In Films, 30 for 30, presented by Buick, presents Youngstown Boys, the story of the dynamic former Ohio State running back Maurice Clarett and their head coach Jim Tressel, both from Youngstown, came together, won the national championship back in 2002, and of course their careers in different ways took different turns from there. Tonight at 9 on ESPN.
I remember when Jim Tressel built that Penguin program. I was a young coach at Ohio U and Ohio State when he built that football program up.
Kendall Williams, after a very short rest, back in the game.
That last possession, Bairstow had to let Ellis score because he's got the one foul.
Bairstow gets a touch on this end and scores right over top the defense.
So he's a handful.
He's got 12 of their 20.
He may or may not be an NBA player, but keep an eye on him because he will wear the USA out when he's playing for Australia when he's about 27 or 28.
If you'd said 3 years ago that it was even a possibility, you would have gotten laughed at. That's how much better he's gotten. That's a credit to him.
And he's got a great basketball lineage as well. Family members playing.
Rejects the shot, but a whistle and a foul against Banyard. So that sends us to another timeout in Kansas City. Good first half so far. 13th ranked Jayhawks with a 4-point lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. The perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter. And Macy's.
News from college football, where according to the Longhorn Network, Mack Brown has informed his team and recruits that he will resign as the head football coach at Texas, but he also will coach against Oregon in the upcoming Alamo Bowl. Again, more news on this coming up on SportsCenter immediately following North Carolina on ESPN. Let's go back to Kansas City.
All right, Randy, thanks. Wild news, Big 12 news, Texas and the turmoil in that football program.
Yep. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Mack Brown is one of the classiest guys you will meet in coaching. My son had a knee injury in 8th grade. I casually mentioned it to Mac Brown at the Big 12 meetings. My son got a handwritten note about 5 days later. He took his name, his address, and said, he didn't say a word, but my son got a note from him. I will never forget that. And that's one of hundreds of stories. Maybe he didn't win enough games. He's a class man.
He won a lot of games.
And he did win a lot of games. Little zone by Kansas, 3-2. They've been using what I call this summer league zone that Bill Self doesn't like to employ much, but he's used it lately.
But you're going to have to explain that one.
Well, you don't have to practice it that much. You know, Bill Self has always been 95% man-to-man. Good effort right there by Banyard.
And that's one of the problems. You play a zone, sometimes you become a little more vulnerable on the offensive glass.
Especially if you don't practice it much. But it's a good changeup.
Obviously, this first half has gone a lot different for Bill Self's team than Tuesday in Gainesville, where the turnovers were just extraordinary. 16 turnovers in the first half against a good Florida team, but still.
Well, keep in mind, this Kansas team has 3 losses. And the 3 teams that beat them, Colorado, Villanova, and Florida, they're toxic to play in December and November when you have this much inexperience. All 3 of those teams are veteran teams. Bill Self said, blame me, I'm the guy that put the schedule together.
Extremely difficult schedule for the Jayhawks, and it's not really getting any easier. This a tough task. Down low. A nice little bounce pass to Ellis, who finishes with the left hand from Taylor.
Very effective tonight inside. This is typical Kansas basketball of the past. Scoring inside, tag teaming inside with the 4 and 5 men. Good teamwork so far.
It's been part of the problem. They just haven't been able to get looks down low. Williams off the bounce. Williams with the foul.
That is his game. You know, he goes about 60 miles an hour going to his right hand, and he goes about 85 going to the left. Watch the explosion right here. He loves to go left and really hard to guard. You got to know that in the scouting report.
Completes the three-point play. He is a very good player. Kendall Williams, the senior from Rancho Cucamonga. He's got 9 of their 25.
That's the other thing about young teams, is trying to get them to understand the scouting report that, hey, these great players have tendencies. We've got to make them play left-handed, play to their weaknesses, and don't let them get to their strengths. That time, Kendall Williams got to his left hand, his strength.
Andrew Wiggins into the middle, floater, beautifully done.
You know, he's a guy, his personality is not such that he's an alpha dog type guy. But I think the best thing for Andrew Wiggins playing for Bill Self is he's learning how to become one.
Williams off the bounce, hits the 3.
How good is he playing? This is what you have when you have juniors and seniors right now.
Another one of those experienced teams that the Jayhawks having to play relatively early in the season. At 3 tied the game. Williams got his hand on the pass. Got very quick hands. Selden to Taylor. One quick dribble to score.
I don't know if Taylor realizes this, but Cam Bairstow's not going to foul anybody with the 1 foul. And he's sucking a little wind right now because Kirk's been on the bench with the 2 fouls.
Williams got knocked down. Selden steals it away and then is fouled by Cleveland Thomas.
Foul call number 1, Cleveland Thomas.
Little ball screen, good screen. Look how wide that screen is. Frees Kendall Williams, and then Traylor. He knows, take it right to the rim. And you see how Bairstow's got to kind of almost be a toll gate attendant there and let him get by him.
Another good example, though, what you've been talking about. Kansas getting some nice looks around the hoop. Selden front end of the 1-and-1 earns the second.
Well, what's important about that, Dave, is Kansas is not shooting threes very well. They're in the bottom 100 or so, shooting about 33%. So you want to play to your strength. Right now, their strength is that front line.
Lucas fought for position, just lost the ball out of bounds. But also, you get a shot up, you're not going to turn it over. Bill Self said part of it for us is just get some shots up. The turnovers have been so costly at times.
You see Kansas again stretching that defense out to 3/4 court.
Williams and the Lobos beat the pressure. Kirk still on the bench for New Mexico. Thomas 3. Rebound tapped around and saved by Lucas for the Jayhawks.
Tell you what, the calculated risk by Craig Neal sitting Alex Kirk may be paying off. They can keep this lead under 6 or 7.
Williams, nice into the passing lane. Stays in bounds. Transition 3. And a foul against Wiggins of Kansas. Well, they're not happy about it here in Kansas City.
I thought Cleveland Thomas had good position. I'm not sure he knew Wiggins was there. Wiggins came out of the sky.
And Rover halftime report, the latest on the end of an era for Texas football as Mac Brown makes it official. He will resign as the football coach in Austin. Also a good one late down Chapel Hill. We got a top 20 showdown. Wildcats, Tar Heels, highlights. Back to Dave and Fran.
All right, Randy, thanks. Alex Kirk and the Lobos down by 3. Kirk has not played much in this first half. 2 quick fouls early for one of their very best players. And part of the byproduct of Kansas playing inside.
Yes, they did. They went inside early, and they got Kirk to pick up those 2 quick ones. You see over the top right there. He's had to sit. And we speculated on bringing Kirk back. I was always a guy to save a guy with 2 fouls, much like Craig Neal has done. And then the more I've watched through the years, I thought, well, listen, you got to keep him warm, keep him active, maybe platoon him offense and defense. But I can tell you right now, if New Mexico goes into halftime within striking distance, it's going to turn out to be a very good calculated risk by Craig Neal.
I mean, basically, they've gotten nothing from a guy who averages 18 points and 10 rebounds a game.
Exactly, and I'll tell you what, they've been effective in the zone also. Watch the screening inside.
And Green wasn't even looking for the pass. It went right off his shoulder and out of bounds. That did not look pretty.
That looked like Tuesday night.
Yeah.
That play right there.
Neal back in for the Lobos. Bill Self not real happy about the last possession.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's like a baseball player not being able to hit the curveball. If you don't solve that zone, you're going to see a lot of that this season.
Neal just got decked in the middle of the lane. That's a foul against the Jayhawks. The Trailer commits his second personal. That'll put the freshman Cullen Neal at the free throw line.
This is a young man that was a terrific high school player at El Dorado High School. Played for a very good coach, Roy Sanchez. And interestingly, Dave, let's face it, you've been to Albuquerque, I coached there. Not everybody happy with Cullen Neal's play early on. And all I would say is the young man would be starting at St. Mary's. He's a freshman. He's going to hit some homers. He's going to strike out. But he's going to ultimately be a good player.
Well, there's a lot of pressure in that program anyway, but you're the coach's kid. That adds to it.
Yep.
And the perception that that's the reason you're there, and that's not true with Cullen Neal.
No, he was a top 100 player.
On the baseline, Trailer finds Selden open. 3.
Good ball movement right there. Even when the ball goes to the baseline, it's like getting a piece of the paint because you have to turn around in the zone and locate Trailer.
Bairstow against Trailer. The spin move got right by him. Ball was poked away, and it's ripped away by Kansas, but that's a whistle against the Jayhawks. And Trailer's got to be careful. He could have been called for a technical.
Well, you see the scrappiness of Bairstow right there. Good hustle both ways. Bairstow gets to the rim, stays with it. And he's going to keep battling.
And the fans unhappy. Bairstow misses the first of 2. Double bonus on both sides. The Trailer with 3 fouls has to come out of the game. That's the first free throw miss for the Lobos. Been a big part of their offense in the first half. Makes the second. 1-point lead for the Jayhawks with the ball.
Little 2-2-1 pressure by Craig Neal right now. Just tit for tat as far as full court pressure both ways.
Andrew Wiggins has been mostly quiet in this half. Did a nice job, but Selden stepped on the out-of-bounds line. And Bill Self wants a timeout. Gotten a little sloppy the last couple minutes for the Jayhawks.
Another unforced turnover. How many times do you see players not recognize where they are on the court? That time Selden not aware of the sideline.
So Kansas gives the ball back. By the way, we get a chance to remind you, Journey to the Tourney continues on ESPN. When UCLA takes on number 8 Duke at Madison Square Garden on Thursday, Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers, part of ESPN's Journey to the Tourney. Thursday, 7:30 on ESPN, and watch ESPN. That feels like a great matchup.
Absolutely. And you know, if Steve Alford were the coach of the Lobos right now,
yes,
there would be another freshman guard being scrutinized fairly heavily. Young man by the name of Bryce Alford, who's off to a very good start for the Bruins, playing good basketball.
Yeah, that'll be a challenge for Duke because UCLA's offense has been tremendous.
Yes, they have. You know what? They have some guys that have coalesced around the new coach. And you know what? The Ware twins, obviously. Anderson, a terrific point forward type scorer. Zach LaVine is tremendous.
Yeah, we focus on Wiggins and Parker and Embiid and all the great freshmen around the country. He should be in that conversation.
No doubt. You've seen, I think he jumps higher than Wiggins.
He might, which is saying something. Neal back to Greenwood. Bairstow fighting down low for position.
See, that's a foul. See, that's a foul. You got to call that earlier.
Yeah, finally they do blow the whistle.
Yeah. And you know what? Justin Wesley is working his tail off in there. But we're trying to eliminate hand-to-hand combat in there. And this is a foul way earlier. Good hustle first. Now he's going to start to displace him. And eventually they blow the whistle. Good effort by Wesley.
Bairstow at the line again, and maybe what you've been talking about here, Bairstow's had to play a ton of minutes with Kirk on the bench. Could be a little fatigued. Makes 1 of 2 again.
Well, as you know, it's not a deep front line, which is something that Craig Neal's going to have to cultivate out of some of those newcomers. Nick Banyard, the sophomore.
The super talented Jayhawks, who've lost 2 in a row, being tested again here tonight in Kansas City. Final minute and a half of the first half. Tharp in and out. Wiggins, good offensive rebound and putback.
That's what you talked about, Dave. If you're playing zone, I believe you can box out of the zone, but you got to go locate bodies. That time Lobos didn't do that.
Neal. Banyard shoots a 3, way off the mark, but Neal tracked down the offensive board. Might have rushed that follow. Greenwood kept it alive. Now it's Bairstow, rejected by Wiggins. What a block from Andrew Wiggins. And a foul against the Lobos.
A good effort by the Lobos inside, but timely shot blocking there by Kansas. Seeing a little bit of Andrew Wiggins' athleticism right there, getting off ball. This is a young Kansas team that's searching for its confidence right now. And any hustle play will be duly noted by this partisan crowd. Well, I saw a game last night up in Ames where we talk about Hilton Magic. That Cyclone crowd willed that team to a win over a really good Iowa team that really outplayed the Cyclones for 38 minutes.
I was watching. You drove up there just to watch the game in person, which I'm sort of impressed by.
Hey.
But I don't know how the Cyclones ended up winning that game.
Amazing. Yep. And 2 really good teams. Fran McCaffrey has a good, deep basketball team. Roy Devin Marble, Aaron White.
Meanwhile, Iowa State, they're going to battle with Kansas, with Oklahoma State, at the top teams in the Big 12 Baylor.
Big 12's a lot better league than we thought about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Oklahoma won again tonight. They went to 9-1. Baylor knocking off Kentucky. There's that pressure.
And they almost turn it over. A little casual there. Arthur Edwards, number 5 for New Mexico there, just into the game, and his head coach is telling him, go get the ball.
Right now, you want to milk this clock if you're Craig Neal. Give Kansas little opportunity to score, although it's about 12 seconds. But I think they played this right in the first half. Turned out that they'll get Kirk back to start the second half with only 2 fouls.
Now, once you don't go for the 2-for-1, you might as well just take the clock down.
Exactly.
Kendall Williams has played well in the first half. Shot clock winding down, and he finds Bairstow, who hit the deck hard after the dunk. Now the ball is just sitting there. They finally stopped the clock. Bairstow's laughing at himself. A thunderous dunk. Great look from Williams.
Williams was going east-west, and he found Bairstow heading south. Take a look. Watch Williams. Really just wraps that pass around. Terrific look. Bairstow just lost his balance. The bear. The dancing bear.
Well, it was a sort of a lighthearted moment for Bairstow. He's still smiling about it, but you don't see a lot of college kids who make that pass that Williams just made. Shot clock off. Final 10 seconds. Kansas trying to get a look, and they foul. Craig Neal, I don't think wanted to foul Wiggins when Wesley got the ball. I think he wanted them to foul Justin Wesley. And somebody found Wiggins, putting him at the line. That is a mistake.
Well, it was Greenwood, and he's got 2 fouls, and so Cleveland Thomas is going to check right in.
Greenwood will go out.
You know we're not seeing the real you Greenwood. You watched him last year, and that right wrist, he's really not even looking to score. And there was some question as to whether he was going to play in the Cincinnati game last Saturday. He did, had the week off, but he's not the same player that Mountain West fans used to seeing.
The free throws for Wiggins. Final seconds of the half. Williams
going left.
On the move with the left hand. And the ball loose. The bucket is going to count. Edwards came up with a loose ball and stuck it back in, and the Lobos finished the first half with a basket. Down by just 1 against the 13th ranked Jayhawks. Cameron Bairstow, what a half for him.
Love the way he plays. Plays with great heart and emotion.
So Kansas goes to the locker room. A mad scramble at the end of the half, and it worked out well for the Lobos.
Take a look. There's the finish inside and a big bucket as they cut that lead to 1.
They always confirm at the monitor just to make sure they get it right. The shot was off before the clock went to 0. And I think very clearly it was. So that basket is going to count. They confirmed that at the table, and that sends us to halftime here in Kansas City. Another challenge for the Jayhawks here tonight. Andrew Wiggins and company played well at times, but New Mexico also played well. Now we'll send it to halftime with the Jayhawks up by 1. A full but chilly night in Kansas City. We're at the Sprint Center. Start of the second half of the 13th ranked Jayhawks with a 1-point lead over New Mexico. Some stats from the first half. A back and forth first half. Alex Kirk played just 3 minutes, one of the best players for the Lobos, but Cameron Bairstow and Kendall Williams were fantastic picking up the slack. Meanwhile, Andrew Wiggins was very solid for Kansas with double figures, 10 points in the first half.
Well, I agree, and Andrew Wiggins has become the go-to guy for Bill Self offensively, coming on 2 huge offensive performances in the last 2 games against Colorado and Florida. They'll need more of that tonight. For the Lobos, a guy that we've talked about all night long, a self-made guy, worked hard as a freshman, sophomore, junior, now a senior, one of the best power forwards in the country. He showed it tonight in front of 19,000 people.
Yeah, Bairstow really has played well, Fran. Okay, so Kansas, they've lost 2 games in a row. They played, I think, much better in the first half here against a good New Mexico team than we saw in Gainesville, but still, they have some things to work on.
You know, they're laboring to score. Their half-court offense, even versus the zone, not bad, but they're getting nothing in transition. They have 2 fast break points, and it's because their defense is not forcing New Mexico into a lot of mistakes.
So it's a different kind of Kansas team this year, still growing and really leaning on Nadir Tharp. They need him to play well.
Well, they do. He needs to get them some easy baskets in transition, but it's got to start at the defensive end. New Mexico with only 3 first-half turnovers.
Entry pass, Embiid had it knocked away by Greenwood. Joel Embiid also spent a lot of time on the bench with 2 personal fouls in the first half. When he was in there, he was effective.
Well, you see it's a chess match because Bill Self is trying to pick up that 3rd foul on Alex Kirk before Embiid commits his 3rd foul on the other end.
They would love to get Kirk right back on the bench. Alex Kirk with the 2 personals guarding Embiid on the low block. Nice quick first step, and he does draw that foul. There's number 3.
It's exactly what Bill Self wanted. Right now, Alex Kirk, you see, that's how you get gray hair right there. I honestly didn't see much there. I'd love to see that again.
Well, now Craig Neal, he's got a decision to make.
And I think he's got to ride. I think he's got to ride Kirk at some point, because you can't save him the whole night. Now let's see if he just stays vertical. You know, that is just a horrendous call. There is no foul right there, and gosh darn it, you know how much I love covering teams in the Big 12, cover them all year, but you just can't call that a foul. You can't penalize a guy for being 7 feet.
There's Kirk with his first basket of the game, the dunk. He's playing with 3 fouls now.
Did you see a foul on that play?
I did not. And particularly, you blow the whistle there, you know he's got 2 fouls already.
Yeah, that's a situation where I just had a problem with that. That was not a good situation.
It's such an impactful whistle. Ellis and Kirk just wouldn't challenge it.
Yeah.
Well, good for Kansas for taking advantage. Perry Ellis, another guy, when he was on the floor, he was effective.
Well, Perry Ellis is a guy that came on like gangbusters at the end of his freshman year and can really score around the paint. Now they're going to keep going at Bairstow.
Now you see that size differential. Embiid with the double team, got his hand on the pass, forced a turnover.
Interestingly, they worked on passing out of the double team today, the Lobos, but Embiid's size, you can't really simulate if you're Craig Neal trapping, which is who the trapper was today.
Embiid draws another foul. So the 7-footer, the freshman from Cameroon, very active on this end of the floor. He'll be back at the free throw line. That's a personal foul, number 2 against Bairstow.
This is a young man we talked about coming from Cameroon. He was brought over to the United States by Richard Mbalamute, who played at Montverde Academy in the Orlando area, Dave. And interestingly, the coach at Montverde also had Dakari Johnson, who's now a freshman at Kentucky, another big guy. Well, Joel was not playing as a junior, so he ended up at the Rock School in Gainesville, Florida. And Norm Roberts, who was an assistant coach at Kansas, really sold Bill Self on this young man before he really burst on the national scene last season. And Kansas was able to come away with a terrific prospect.
Yeah, good job by Coach Roberts.
Absolutely. Whose son, by the way, played at the same school when Norm was an assistant for Billy Donovan in Gainesville.
Embiid picked up basketball at age 16. Another double team. And again, it's the length and the size of Kansas on that double team. They forced 2 turnovers in a row.
Anytime you get trapped in the post, you got to use your dribble to create space away from the double team.
Embiid squares up, hits a shot. Man, can this kid be something?
Well, what he is he's a guy whose best basketball will never be seen by Jayhawk fans, but you see glimpses of greatness.
Greenwood shoveled it off to Bairstow. Kirk would not shoot the 3. Embiid again helping out on defense. See if Bairstow attacks Embiid. He shot over top him. The loose ball. And it's saved inbounds, yes, by Thomas. Nice play.
Thomas is one of those dirty work guys. Defends, hustle plays.
Embiid with the rejection. He is something.
You're going to attack Embiid. You got to go right to his body. Can't baby that shot up like Thomas just did.
If they get the big man another touch, I think he wants it down low. Tharp. Ellis shoots a 3. Got it. Jayhawks on a run. Timeout, New Mexico. And the Sprint Center is rocking. Kansas City, 8-0 run. The Jayhawks have their biggest lead. Joel Embiid, their freshman big man, making a huge impact on both ends, but particularly on defense.
Well, when you talk about all the great freshmen in the country, this guy came out of nowhere. And you see they were trying to simulate the double team in practice today. Craig Neal was 6'4" when he played in the NBA, but you can't simulate 7 feet tall when you're passing out of that double team, something Bairstow and Kirk have got to do a better job of.
And those numbers really don't tell the story about how he has impacted, particularly the run. Craig Neal's got to be concerned. Embiid has started to dominate this game. The Lobos are down 9 with the ball. Field goal shooting. Big difference there. Kendall Williams.
Little high-low action right here. Let's see if they can get it.
Kirk catches high, goes to Bairstow low. But Embiid matched up with him. Bairstow went to the left hand. Embiid altered another shot. Here's Wiggins. Trying to get the ball inside.
They're going to go high-low too, Kansas.
Ellis runner. Rebound Kirk. Lobos, who at times do like to play some up-tempo, they could use an easy bucket or two.
Yeah, no question. But they're really good in the half court, particularly when they play through Bairstow and Kirk. Haven't had a chance to do it much tonight because of foul trouble.
Here's Bairstow, cut through, got to the elbow. Greenwood just not looking to shoot with that wrist problem.
But he does make those kind of little plays, Greenwood.
Save the possession. If he's feeling 100%, maybe he just goes back up with the ball. Embiid moving everywhere on defense.
Oh, left hand hook. Are you kidding?
Bairstow, he may be the most improved player in college basketball.
You know, we were talking about that today. Xavier Thames from San Diego State, Casey Prater from Florida, Cam Clark at Oklahoma. There's a bunch of guys but this guy, certainly the numbers bear out how much he's improved.
Lob, Embiid finishes.
Easy baskets. Easy baskets to key to Kansas. That time Thought put it on a tray for the big fella.
Joel Embiid, what a talent. And Tharp with a great look, you're right. Kirk down low, hook shot, short. Jayhawks making a push here, up 9. Tharp, nifty ball handling, and not a great pass. Greenwood knocked it out of bounds.
Well, we're seeing an array of moves by Cameron Bairstow, the senior from down under. Take a look right here. Hard work pays off. But on the other end, Tharp, pick and roll, a staple of Kansas in the past. Hey, it's coming back.
Well, Embiid and the Jayhawks on a run, playing very well in the second half. They now lead by 9. There's a former Kansas star, Travis Relaford.
Yep, playing in Belgium right now. He's home, just had surgery on a stress fracture, but he's off to a really good start in Europe. He's promoting a book. How about that?
He is?
He's got a book about his life experiences growing up here in Kansas City, and of course his 5 years with the Jayhawks. Very successful, one of the really popular players in the Bill Self era.
A really bright kid, one of 5 starters Kansas has had to replace on this year's team. Part of the reason why the Jayhawks have struggled here in the early season. A little backdoor play, but stolen away by Selden. On the break, Selden lob. Embiid, great catch. Couldn't go up with the shot. So he kind of gets reset and then loses Kirk.
Ooh! Elijah. He surprised himself. Great footwork that time.
His teammates are impressed. A 12-2 run.
He gave you a little bit of the dream shake and then used the rim to protect his shot.
You hear the name, that's a move that does make you think of Elijah. Kirk couldn't get it off against the big man. Gets another touch and created some room. Missed another shot. Jayhawks ball.
Kirk has really been spooked by that double team in his second half. He's better off just kicking it out and reposting and not taking on the challenge of the double.
Wiggins fouled by Thomas as he put it on the floor.
Watch the footwork. That's the key. You're talking about a big guy, Alex Kirk, at 7 feet. Watch the catch, first of all, not to travel. And the location of the defender, footwork, up and under. That's textbook right there.
Yeah, you cannot defend that.
Norm Roberts, Bill Self's assistant. He took Bill Self to see Joel Embiid last September in Gainesville at the Rock School. And they got the private jet. Bill Self did not say a word the entire workout. Norm Roberts said, I don't think he likes him. And he said, Coach, afterwards, what do you think? And Bill Self said, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? You know how good this kid is going to be? Norm Roberts is a key factor in the recruitment.
Kirk for 3, in and out. So the Lobos struggling now on the offensive end.
And a little bit of bad luck right now because that ball was down.
Ellis finishes with the left hand.
That's what Perry Ellis does. He's angles. Perry Ellis is all about angles inside. He's not going to jump over you, but he has a good feel for where the rim is in relationship to the defender.
Williams was fouled on the jump shot, so kind of a savvy play, I think, by Kendall Williams to draw the foul.
His second personal foul. First team foul.
Watch Perry Ellis run the floor and establish position up the court. Now he knows where his bread is buttered. He's going to watch him locate his man up the lane and then finish with the left hand at the rim.
Ellis and Embiid have scored all of the Jayhawks points in the second half. Ellis now with 15. There's Joel Embiid, 16 years old. He's been a volleyball player, had never played basketball. You mentioned Luke Mbamute, the former UCLA star, back in Cameroon running some basketball camps. And that's how Embiid got onto basketball.
And interestingly enough, Joel Embiid had a lot to do with Andrew Wiggins winding up choosing Kansas. They were teammates on the Nike Hoop Summit World Team last April, and they felt very, very comfortable together. You can see it.
That's a heck of a duo in terms of the potential, the talent, and the production right now.
Nice
underneath
job.
the basket. That was a good move, and Kirk scores.
Arthur Edwards provided a little bit of spark at the end of the first half. Junior college transfer. Craig Neal looking for a couple more bodies off the bench, whether it's Neal, whether it's Banyard, Edwards, Delaney.
Now remember, this is
watch
a
lob,
very
watch lob.
experienced New Mexico team. So down, they're not going to panic. Wiggins on the baseline. He draws a foul. Started to elevate over the defense and was fouled. Maybe not a great play by Edwards. Wiggins back to the free throw line. Wiggins had 10 in the first half. Has not scored yet in the second half. Still hasn't. Journey to the tourney continues on ESPN. UCLA Duke from Madison Square Garden. Matchup of Blue Bloods in college hoops Thursday, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN.
Just saw something interesting on the free throw line. Kirk and Embiid were talking and smiling, and Embiid was doing a little dream shake, almost to say, I can't believe I got you on that. But two gentle giants, if you will, but two very good players at different spectrums of their career, by the way.
Well, Kirk, who's been around a long while, and he and Jamari Traylor, who's now in the game, are laughing. So I think some good sportsmanship. Kids having fun on the court. Williams, nifty pass. Cullen Neal missed the three. See how high Andrew Wiggins gets for the defensive board. Well, Embiid on the bench, and Kansas struggled with him out of the game in the first half. Traylor, nice move to draw the foul. So that'll send us to another timeout here in Kansas City. Jayhawks playing well. Kansas leads by 10.
Continuing to update you on breaking news. Mack Brown has made it official, telling his team and his recruits he will resign as the head football coach at Texas after 16 years, won a national title in 2005. The Longhorn Network reporting that. We are looking at Ravonte Rice, top 4 in the Big Ten in scoring. His Illinois Illini in Portland, getting ready to tangle with number 15 Oregon. That's forthcoming on ESPN2.
All right, Randy, thanks. Jayhawks with a 10-point lead nearing the midpoint of the second half. Great day of college hoops and a lot of storylines to talk about.
Absolutely. Started last night for me. I was up in Ames, Hilton Coliseum, Iowa State. Look at the wins they've had. And, of course, Arizona with a big win at Chrysler Arena today. And fun day of basketball.
Playing like the #1 team of the country, the Wildcats.
You know, Kentucky, young team. I saw them lose to Baylor a week ago. Game effort at Chapel Hill, but you can't put a price tag on experience. You think back to that Kentucky team 2 years ago, Dave. Yep, they had Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, but they had good, solid role player veterans coming off that bench.
Bairstow down low, draws a foul. Without Embiid in the game, the defense for Kansas around the basket suffers, and the Lobos trying to take advantage.
Yeah, a good set play. They run that a lot out of timeouts, that cross screen inside. Bill Self's got a deep bench in terms of big guys, but obviously no one with the shot blocking for Joel Embiid, which is one of the reasons, even though he went to his senior year of high school in Gainesville, he felt when Florida recruited him, they did a good job, but They had a lot of guys in position to play early at his spot. You think of Dorian Finney-Smith, Patrick Young, and others. Chris Walker, who's going to be going to gain his eligibility. So he's fit right in here in Jayhawk land.
10-point lead for Kansas, trying to snap out of their 2-game losing streak. The freshman Mason came up way short. The Traylor grabbed the loose ball, down low, good pass, and Green scores.
Jamari Traylor, another one of those young big guys who's going to end up being a 5-year guy. And as Wiggins and Embiid leave the program, he'll be around to provide solid inside play the next 3 years.
Yeah, he struggled early in this game. He's done some nice things, though. Kendall Williams has done some very nice things for the Lobos.
Well, he's got they got an open court drive.
Green, missed the layup.
Opportunity here.
Yeah, New Mexico coming the other way. Kansas did get back on defense. Bairstow, quick dribble into the middle, draws a foul. Ellis committed the personal.
You can see New Mexico with Kirk now getting into the flow. Good ball movement by the Lobos.
And I've said Ellis was there, but they did not call him for the personal. They called Traylor for the foul. That's his 4th. Makes the first of 2.
Well, here's the drive. Look at the position he gets. You see the reach in by Traylor. Cameron Bairstow. 7 kids, 5 boys. His younger brother Jared plays in Central Oklahoma. He's got 2 younger brothers that are coming up the pike. Sean, the 14-year-old, I hear, is excellent as well. Some of my Aussie coaching friends have told me about Sean.
You have those friends.
Yeah, I do.
You get friends everywhere.
Well, you know what I love about the Australian kids is they play hard.
They have a kid who's 18 years old in Australia right now who is in the conversation with Wiggins, Embiid, Parker. Good defense by New Mexico.
There's 6 guys, I think, that'll be the top 6 picks, and you might be able to throw Aaron Gordon in there, but this young man put on a show last year at the Nike Hoop Summit. I saw him at the Under-19 World Championships in Prague. Very little chance now he's going to pick a college. I think he'll be among the top 6 picks.
Yeah, there was some talk he'd come to the United States and play at least a year in college, but
his dad played at North Carolina with Michael Jordan. Cecil.
Shot clock was winding down.
Danger zone for Kansas right now.
Embiid is back in the game, but the Lobos have gone on a little run. It's an 8-point lead. Backdoor play to Williams, who gets another foul call against the Jayhawks. Back to the free throw line for Kendall Williams.
Dave, that's a great either-or play for Bairstow and Williams, because if you play soft on Williams, he's going to come around, take the handoff, shoot the 3. If you overplay him, Bairstow reads it. Take a look. It's like a quarterback picking up a receiver. Watch now. Do you come up and play? Because if you do and you cheat, Williams is going to back cut you, and he's very good getting to the rim.
And you mentioned there's Cameron Bairstow, the senior, who's playing so well for the Lobos. Their head coach, Craig Neal's got a great NBA background, and you see a lot of that 2-man game stuff, a lot of NBA-style stuff with this New Mexico team.
Very much so. And of course, being with Steve Alford for a number of years at Iowa and New Mexico, both of those guys, good offensive minds. Little zone now by the Lobos again. It's something that Kansas has not handled well in the early season.
Well, the Jayhawks had opened up a lead. It's down to 6. It was as many as 13 just a few minutes ago. Embiid back in off the bench. The double team came. He passes out of it to Wiggins, who missed the layup. Wiggins maybe got a little too cute there. Shot clock did not reset. Wiggins elevates. Missed that one. Rebound New Mexico.
Remember what I told you about Wiggins? He's got to use his body to make contact with the defense. He babies it.
Neal looked a little out of control, but did not turn it over. Cullen Neal down the lane. Scoop shot, no good. Did everything but go down, but he rips the ball away and then draws a foul. He's a little upset at himself for missing the shot, but good aggressive play from the freshman, the son of the coach.
Cullen Neal, you know what? He's got a lot of moxie. He's a scorer. He plays a little too fast right now. He's got to slow down, make plays for others. I like his effort.
He is a confident kid.
He is a confident kid. He's scored a lot of points at El Dorado High School.
So a timeout, 9:11 to go. We get a chance to remind you ESPN's primetime coverage of the Jimmy V Classic presented by Corona starts on Tuesday. There's the lineup in the women's game, matchup of the two best teams so far, Connecticut and Duke, 7 Eastern on ESPN2 on Tuesday. On the men's side, Pitt and Cincinnati at 7, and then at 9, Florida and Memphis also on ESPN. That women's matchup, UConn and Duke.
I don't think we're going to see a 4 overtime game like the game I saw last Friday night.
That was a classic.
Between Kentucky and Baylor, 2 top 10 teams. But these teams, you know, you talk about Chelsea Gray back and healthy and doing her thing. Stephanie Golson inside for UConn amongst a bunch of stars. UConn deservedly so right now, the #1 team.
2 hurdles for the Duke women's program. They haven't been to the Final Four with this great group of talent. They haven't been able to beat UConn. Trying to accomplish those things. Now a whistle, and Ellis just knocked Bairstow to the ground. That's his 3rd personal. Not a very smart play. Kansas led by 13. They had this place rocking. Mexico has settled the game down. Still a long way to go.
Remember how experienced this New Mexico team is.
Good point. Neal, the catch and shoot. In and out. Rebound tapped around to Wiggins.
Cohen Neal's had a number of opportunities go in and out.
Tharp draws a foul in transition. The shot did not count. It was a foul on the floor.
Foul by number 13, Colin Neal.
Foul against Neal, his 2nd.
On Mexico. Checking back into the lineup, number 3, Hugh Green.
Here's what Fran was just talking about. The experience factor for these teams, and I think that undersells New Mexico in a way because their core guys are all experienced.
Exactly.
Of course, Kansas is about the youngest team in the country.
Well, Kentucky is the youngest, but Kansas is 3rd youngest, but you're certainly right there in the ballpark.
Kirk, good defense. Embiid saved it in off of the face of Bairstow, who's trying to blink away the pain as he runs down to the offensive end. Williams again. Rebound, a little sloppy. Here come the Jayhawks. Ellis to Tharp. Back to Ellis with the foul.
Will Self loved that play by Tharp. Tharp took his time. He's going over to his coach. But a good look. Watch the finish. Terry Ellis is really good around the basket. Now, that's an understatement, needless to say, but he uses both hands well. He's got really good footwork. He's got a soft floater game in the mid-post. Very confident around the rim.
He completes the 3-point play, and that's the 4th foul against Big Alex Kirk. 18 points, 10 rebounds a game. He has been mostly a non-factor. He goes back to the bench.
Well, and when he has played, remember, he's had to deal with Embiid and his size at the rim.
Not easy. Kendall Williams looking to get it to Bairstow down low. Double team. And Bairstow took his time this time. A better job, but still couldn't get a shot off. Sets a screen. Williams was fouled and hits a 3.
Just what the doctor ordered if you're Craig Neal. A confident player, a senior. Take a look now, the concentration. He likes going left. There's the jump shot, the foul. Boy, first time I've seen Kendall Williams in person since high school.
He can play.
Yes, he can.
How about that? The 4th foul against Wiggins and the 4-point play for Kendall Williams. Bill Self trying to encourage his super talented freshman. Williams has 22. He and Bairstow lead everybody in this game with 22 points.
Lobo's back to man-to-man.
Embiid, quick move, but was fouled. Fouled by Williams. Well, Kendall Williams, Fran, you've been impressed with this guy.
Watch him go left off the screen. Pulls up, the concentration, knocks it down. That's what you expect from a senior. Veteran club, they're not going away.
Kevin Durant took the college basketball world by storm in 2007, leading the Big 12 in scoring and rebounding as a freshman. For his efforts, he became the first freshman to win the Wooden Award.
Well, Well, back here in Kansas City, Jayhawks cannot pull away from New Mexico, 63-58. We heard about Kevin Durant, the Wooden Award, the possibilities. We get some guys on the court here tonight who are candidates.
Absolutely. Guys that are, some of the best players in the country. Now, the flip side of this, when you talk about Wiggins, Parker, Randall, is I really thought, and I always have, that it was unfair to compare these guys to LeBron, okay? We know that's ludicrous. But people forget how dominant Kevin Durant was in his 1 year at Texas. And if you ask the Jayhawk fans about Kevin Durant's performance in Allen Fieldhouse, the 25 points in the first half is one of the great performances by an opponent in that place. Kevin Durant is head and shoulders above these freshmen right now at the same stage. And that's not a criticism of these guys. We just hyped them up too much.
And if we are going to make ludicrous comparisons, it almost is better to use Durant. We actually got to see him in college. LeBron, we never saw play at the college level. And Durant, we saw what he did.
You know what the problem is? We have so many people writing and talking about college basketball. Everybody wants to be the guy to say, Wiggins is the next LeBron. Parker's the next Grant Hill. And I'm guilty of it too. But I also know as a coach, these guys have weaknesses and holes in their game. They're going to be great. We know it.
Joel Embiid is going to be great. Here's Selden on the break. Selden scores.
I'm going to say it again. Nadir Tharp pitched that ball ahead and allowed Selden to get an easy basket. Nadir Tharp remains the missing link to Kansas having a great season.
So Embiid deflected a pass. Tharp then made the pass that got the layup for Selden. Back to a 9-point lead for the Jayhawks. Kirk, remember, is on the bench with 4 fouls for New Mexico. Edwards, shot clock winding down. Edwards missed the layup. Here's Tharp on the move. Finds Ellis in transition, but a foul. Bairstow went up high, blocked the shot, but there was a whistle. Bairstow's hurting a little bit as he gets up. A Jet got called for the foul.
Bairstow's played a lot of minutes tonight, Dave, as you commented early, because of Kirk's foul trouble. Bill Self, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you were with me today when Bill Self said, I've been very, very tough on Nadir Tharp over the last 2 weeks. And there was a point that he questioned whether I loved him or not. And he said, it's almost like your son. You yell at your son, you discipline him, but at the end of the day, your son knows the dad loves him. And they've had to rebuild a relationship over the last 2 weeks. And the critical thing is Bill Self knows he's the closest thing to a pure point guard they have. Frank Mason, outstanding freshman, but he's more of a third down back. He keeps both teams in the game. This guy has made big plays for Kansas in the past.
Williams, what a look for Kirk, who was fouled before he got the shot off.
Oh, here it is. Watch. Talked about Kansas. They had one fast break basket in the first half. Watch Embiid with the steal, and then Tharp pushing it, kicking it ahead, allowing Kansas to do what they haven't done much of this season, which is get easy baskets in the open court.
There was a foul on the shot, so 2 free throws for Alex Kirk, who's back in the game with 4 personals, makes the second free throw. 9-point lead for the Jayhawks.
And the Lobos going to switch their defense again, go to the zone.
Tharp, the guy you've been talking about, got the start again after not starting at Florida, and he's played big minutes. He's been out there most of the game.
Good look inside.
Great look inside.
Bill Self, a little point to Tharp, like, hey, you're my guy again.
Plays like that.
Simple. Got to be a point guard. That's what this team needs.
Bairstow to Kirk. Embiid from behind, travel.
You know, it's been a very tough night for a guy who's a very good player. Alex Kirk. You see Craig Neal with the 2-2-3 zone. You and I are going to see Alex Kirk in the Lobos next week in Vegas against a scrappy Marquette team.
Yeah, excellent doubleheader at the MGM Grand next Saturday. Oklahoma State, Colorado, the other game. Tharp, another good look. Ellis with the dunk. 8 assists for the point guard. He plays well, Kansas fans are happy.
And if he plays well, more importantly, Bill Self is happy.
Much more importantly. Still fiery in the huddle. Still 5:39 to go, so he knows this game is not over. But Kansas up by 13. ESPN's primetime coverage of the Jimmy V Classic presented by Corona on Tuesday. On the women's side, Connecticut Duke #1 and #2, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Then on the men's side, Pitt and Cincinnati, 7 Eastern. Florida, Memphis, 9 Eastern on ESPN. Nadir Tharp got the start again, and he has played very well for the Jayhawks in this one.
It doesn't matter how many lottery picks you have on the front line. You need somebody to quarterback this team. And Nadir Tharp got the message. Two games in a row, no starts. And tonight, he's playing like the point guard that Kansas needs in order for this talented group of frontline players to reach their potential.
Meanwhile, the Lobos need to pick it up. Bairstow on the baseline. Embiid, what a half he has played. Just tremendous on both ends. Not giving Bairstow any room here. Bairstow almost lost it out of bounds.
See how Embiid moved his feet without using his hands?
Yep.
That's 7 feet right there.
Shot clock at 5. Kendall Williams attacks the big man who got a piece of it. More good defense from Joel Embiid.
And we ought to keep a stat besides block shots called challenges. Because although I think he got a piece of that one, just his presence in the lane, it's like hurries in football on a quarterback.
Yeah, you may not get credit for the sack, but you impacted the play. Embiid posting up against Kirk, who's got the 4 fouls. He gets the touch. A little up and under, uses the glass beautifully.
He knows Alex Kirk wants to stay in this game. So he took it right through Kirk.
17 points. He's only officially attempted 6 shots. That's efficiency. Kendall Williams for 3. Too strong. Jayhawks want to run again. Tharp, no look, and Ellis wasn't looking himself.
And Bill Self put his hands over his eyes. And he's telling Nadir Tharp right now, he's coaching him on the fly. But I think Ellis could have kept going to the basket.
I mean, look, it was a no-look pass, maybe a little too fancy, but Ellis should have been looking. Big run for the Jayhawks. They're up by 15. That's their biggest lead. Kirk, no good.
Well, the seams have started to come apart for New Mexico, but we saw enough of this team, especially with Kirk in foul trouble. This will be a good game for New Mexico. They lost a game to a very good UMass team in Charleston.
Brennan Green. Look at Selden way up in the air, but he stepped on the out-of-bounds line. And that sends us to a timeout. Good effort. Not quite there for Kansas, but playing well, leading by 15.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2014 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Back in the studio getting ready for 15th ranked Oregon with Mike Moser, who's second on the team and scoring as well, 15 a game. His Ducks getting ready to tangle with the Illini. That's coming up on ESPN2 in Portland. And we are now just moments away from the newest addition to the Heisman Trophy winner family. That's on ESPN. For now, back to Kansas City, Dave and Fran.
All right, thanks, guys. Back to action here in KC, where the Jayhawks have played well, trying to snap out of their 2-game losing skid. Time running out on the Lobos. Kendall Williams just couldn't find an opening there. Off the foot of who? Off of Williams. Kansas ball. You see Embiid?
Yes,
the
I
big
did.
guy chasing the little guy around.
You see how well he moved his feet? Kendall Williams usually can get into the paint, right?
He couldn't beat the 7-footer off the dribble.
He won't be the only guy this year to have that trouble.
Embiid, this is probably his best game of his young career. Career high 17 points. He has 4 blocks. He's altered how many other shots? Hard to know, but a lot of them. He's only played 22 minutes.
And he plays patiently, you know, which is what I like. That's the game. come to him, doesn't force shots. Weak side.
Used the dribble, went right by the double team, draws the foul. Well, you can help us beat cancer. The V Foundation awards 100% of direct donations and net proceeds of events to fund cancer research. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 800-4-JIMMY-V to donate. Alex Kirk has fouled out of this game, and we do hope you help us. The V Foundation has done such great work over these last many years. Alex Kirk, not the kind of game he was hoping to have against the Jayhawks.
Oh, those 2 early fouls hurt him. There was a 3rd foul, which was sketchy at best, in my opinion. But give this guy credit, too, for controlling Alex Kirk tonight. Joel Embiid inside.
You can see how he's getting better on the fly. The free throw shooting has been tremendous. So that already improving for the young 7-footer. Speaking about the V Foundation, there is that endowment. That means you know that every dollar you give goes straight to cancer research. 100% of all direct cash donations to the V Foundation.
It's a good time to wish our buddy Dick Vitale congratulations on his 35th year at ESPN. Of course, he's been such a catalyst for raising money for the V Foundation.
Yeah, nobody's done more. Bairstow was fouled. Embiid came from the help side and swatted it off the glass. Bodies flying everywhere, and maybe some tempers starting to flare up. Selden not happy with Hugh Greenwood.
Personal foul. The 19th foul on the Jayhawks.
Well, Embiid came from the weak side to make sure that ball wasn't going to get him near the rim.
4th foul against Perry Ellis, who also has played really well for the Jayhawks.
Barry's a very understated guy.
But I like what you said. Look, in contrast to Wiggins, to Embiid, even to Selden, many of his teammates, the flashy athleticism is not there, but the production is there.
No question. This is a guy that really came on at the end of last season, was actually voted all Big 12 tournament team.
In-state kid from Wichita, had a great high school career there. Final 2.5 minutes, 14-point lead for the Jayhawks.
Kansas right now versus the zone. Use a little bit of clock, but continue to probe. And now I think they switch out of the zone and go man.
Down the stretch, Jayhawks have done this with Wiggins on the bench with the 4 fouls. Bart. The shot clock down to 5. The 3 is good.
Pretty good night for the young man from Worcester.
Big time.
Nadir Tharp had so many games last year where he was a key contributor in big Kansas wins. But there's a little bit more load on his shoulders this season.
Neal tried the wraparound pass and couldn't get it to Bairstow. Last field goal for the Lobos was that 4-point play, which was a long time ago. Almost 7 minutes ago.
Brandon Green, smart move, pulled it out, ran some clock. His dad played at Pittsburgh State. He's a really good scorer. The Gorillas of Pittsburgh State.
He's going to score a lot of points. Bairstow stole it away. Williams on the break. And Williams lays it in with a foul.
Now that's where Brandon Green's just got to let Williams. There's no reason to reach in there. The freshman commits a foul. Williams just was going to go to the basket, lay it in anyway.
Learning moments.
No question.
For the young Jayhawks.
By the way, there'll be a lot of them in the next month or so.
No kidding.
They're not done yet.
That schedule just does not get easier. Jayhawks have some great wins. Free throw was missed by Williams, of course, most notably to beat Duke to get the season started unofficially in that Champions Classic. Start the Rock Chalk Jayhawk here in Kansas City. They still have Georgetown. They still have San Diego State.
They got that San Diego State team. You know how good they are.
They are good.
The Lobos know it as well.
And then the league, Big 12 is going to be a tough, tough conference. Can Kansas win its 10th straight Big 12 championship?
They can, but I'll tell you, there'll be some people in Stillwater and Ames, Iowa, maybe Waco, that have a say in it. Oklahoma playing very well. Texas surprisingly well.
Yeah.
With one of the youngest teams in the country. That Baylor team has so much length, and they've got some grittiness this year, some toughness. Royce O'Neal, the transfer. Oklahoma with a budding star, and Buddy Hield. We'll see them a lot on Tuesdays.
You and I both are going to be all over the Big 12 this year.
Yeah.
Sometimes together, sometimes not. Up and under move. Wayne Selden. This will end up being a very impressive Kansas win.
It will. Lobos will come away from this. Some missed opportunities the first 30 minutes.
But the horn sounds, and the Jayhawks end their little losing skid in impressive fashion against a good New Mexico team.
Well, good game for Bill Self's young players. Joel Embiid continues to get better, but again, Dave, Nadir Tharp, not the best talented guy on his team, but maybe the most important.
And this is what we were talking about, Fran, for the Jayhawks. Nice win here, but no time to relax. Here's what they have upcoming.
How about that? Talk about San Diego State, and on the road at two tough places. And that home game January 18th against the Cowboys and Marcus Smart, who defeated Kansas last year at Allen Fieldhouse.
Joel Embiid, the freshman 7-footer, was tremendous in this game. He and the Jayhawks beat New Mexico. For Fran Fraschilla and our entire crew, Dave Fleming saying so long here from Kansas City. Final score, Kansas 80, New Mexico 63. Coming up next, Illinois takes on the 15th ranked Ducks of Oregon. But before that, we're going to send it back to the studio.